Well, folks, Trip here. Here I am today at Cowboys Alamo City Harley-Davidson, and I am about to take a test ride on the all-new 2022 Harley-Davidson Nightster. It's in gunship gray. All right, let's hop on. Let's make this happen. Let's see what we think. Well, the bike's kind of got an interesting sound to it. Doesn't sound like a traditional Harley. Doesn't sound bad though. It's got a little bit of a rumble to it. Of course, that could be some of the other bikes that are around me. Tell you at first pass, I kind of like the layout here. Sort of a modern look. The handlebar controls here. Nice display. I like that. Very compact. We'll see what all is in there. ABS, riding mode, mileage, tack, all that happy stuff. Okay, this bike is a mid-mount, which, as some of you know, is not my favorite. I can tell right off the bat that this is a nimble bike. It turns real easy, very flickable. Not even out of the parking lot, I know that already. I like this color, gunship gray. It's a nice medium gray color. It's got some gloss to it. Oh, it's got some nice pickup. It's pretty torquey down at the low end. I'm in second gear here. Now this bike has the new Revolution Max 975T engine in it. And from what I've read, it is rated at 90 horsepower at the wheel and 70 foot-pounds of torque. It is water-cooled, and it has a 6-speed transmission. So far, it seems to shift pretty smoothly. It's got a lot of power at the low end. It's I don't want to say jumpy, but it likes to lurch. One of the things that's going to make this bike handle a little nicer is a 19-inch front wheel. All right, just blew a yellow light there. It's got some nice pickup to it. And you can see it's got the bar end mirrors on it, good visibility. Now this bike has a 19-inch front wheel and a 16-inch back wheel, and I'll take a picture and show you the wheels. They're cast and pretty attractive. I do like those. We're doing 60 miles an hour right now. We're in fourth gear. Now we're in fifth gear doing 65, well about 60, 65, just shy of 4,000 RPM. Now for me, I'm about 230, 5'11". I don't particularly care for the handlebar position here. I've got to lean a little bit more forward than I would like. But again, everyone comes in different sizes, and I think you could put a riser on this bike. Get the handlebars up an inch or two. I don't know what that would do to the overall look of the bike. I'm not getting too much pressure against the chest here at 60 miles an hour. We've got sort of this cafe racer fairing up front, and it seems to do an okay job, although I am getting a fair amount of helmet noise. And this isn't the quietest helmet, it's an HJC. But it's not that bad of a helmet, and I am noticing a little bit more wind noise than I would like. However, I don't know that I would ever consider putting a windshield on this bike. Maybe a slightly bigger fairing, though. Now, the seat height is 27.1 inches of laden. So, not that high of a seat. Maybe an inch or so higher than a bigger Harley Cruiser. But not by much. So I wouldn't imagine you'd need to be too tall to ride this thing. Now, one of the things that I really like this bike is the lightweight. It's only 462 pounds, I believe, empty, and about 15, 20, maybe 20 pounds more when it's full. I think maybe 481 or something like that Either way, it doesn't get to 500 pounds. And that's down in the weight of my Kawasaki Vulcan S650. Actually, maybe just a little bit lighter, and about 16 more horsepower. This bike has really good pickup. Comparing this bike to the Sportster 883, I like it quite a bit more. Not so much in the sound, but in the power and the pickup and the handling. It's a nimbler bike. It's a more powerful bike. There are a couple of features this bike has that the old school Sportsters didn't have. It's got standard ABS brakes, and it's got traction control, and it has 3 riding modes. It's got road, rain, and sport. Okay, I just hit the mode button and the S disappeared, so it's got a little cloud, so I'm in rain mode right now. And it's not as torquey. When I hit the accelerator, it's a very smooth, slow acceleration versus the sport mode, which I have been in since the get-go. It was quite a little beast. Now let's hit that, and we're in road mode, which is normal mode, and it's still pretty beefy. It's got some torque. Very impressive. I think this power plant, the new Revolution Max, is going to be a winner for Harley. I like it. Okay, now let's go back into sport mode. Oh yeah, you can tell the difference. The difference between sport and road is not as big as it is between road and rain, that's for sure. Now the bike's got a 3.1 gallon tank on it. I would imagine it probably gets 50 miles to the gallon. I'm just guessing there. So we're probably looking at 150, 160 miles for the tank. Okay, we're going to get off here. I'll get up here and test out the brake, see how they work. I hit the front brake. Oh, nice, nice, very grabby. Very powerful front brake. I'll have to get off here and look whether it's got a single or a dual disc. I think it's a single disc, but missed a shift. How about that? Okay, we're in second, third. Wow, this thing is a beast. Another factor that would contribute positively to the handling of this bike is that you put the gas in underneath the seat, not in the tank. And it helps to lower the center of gravity on the bike, making it much more nimble. Makes the bike seem lighter than it actually is. All right, we're in 5th gear. Now we're up to 6th. Oh, we've still got acceleration in 6th gear. I'm at 65. Boom, up to 70 in just a second or two. Being this is the first time I've ever been on this bike, I'm not familiar with how to change all the infotainment information up here, but I know it's got a trip A, a trip B, tachometer, gear counter, an ABS indicator light. It's got a fuel gauge, and it's basically got everything you want on it. This test ride is going to last no more than 10 miles, and it's really not a good gauge to be able to judge comfort on the bike, because I've sat on bikes before that just feel great, and then 15 miles later you're begging for mercy because the seat is just crap. I don't have any discomfort yet on this bike, but I've just got a feeling that you would probably want to put an aftermarket seat on this baby if you wanted to ride it any distance whatsoever. Again, this bike's going to be similar to the Sportster Iron, and I think that's the bike that it was probably made to replace over time, but it just compares very favorably to the Iron. I think it's a better bike in just about every way, except for maybe the classic sound of your air-cooled V-twin. It's got an attractive exhaust on it. Take a picture and splice it into the video here so y'all can see. It's really styled nicely. I like the look of the engine. I like the look of the bike. The fenders, both front and back. It's just a really good looking bike. More of a short distance riding bike. I mean, I imagine you'd have to do quite a bit of mods to it to have it be a long distance bike. And this being such a new bike, I really don't know what mods are available for it yet. We're going to downshift here. I really like these riding modes. Really nice. And the difference is just night and day. I mean, you can really feel the rain mode. That's going to add to the safety, along with the traction control and the ABS and that really big grabby front brake. And then the sport mode is just a beast. It's not a huge amount of difference than the road mode or your standard mode, but enough that you notice it. And this bike is just really sporty. It's got a lot of get up and go. Much more bike than the old Sportster 883. I think it's more bike than the 1200 by a good deal. Let's try the horn here. Oh, wussy horn. Standard Harley wussy horn. That's unfortunate. You know, Harley does a great job of coming out with a studly bike, and then they put a horn on it like this. Sometimes I don't understand that. It's got to cost about $1 extra to make a beefier horn, but anyhow. There's some good sound to it. You know, the longer I'm on this bike, the more I like it. The handling is just superb. The acceleration is top notch. I mean, it's not going to be as monster of a bike as something a lot bigger, but you're looking at 60 cubic inches here, 975 cc's. Again, you're also looking at 90 horsepower, so, you know, up against your traditional air-cooled Harley, it's doing pretty good. I wish I had more time on this bike, but these test rides, like I said, are less than 10 miles long. Shifts really smooth, doesn't have that hard clunk that so many of the old school Harleys have, and I kind of like that. Although I kind of like that clunk too. I've grown fond of it over the years. But I could see, if you're a younger and newer rider, that this bike is going to have a lot of appeal to people buying you know, Japanese bikes or more sporty bikes. I think Harley has done a good job here. I think they've got a winner going, to be honest with you. Now, I believe in black, this bike starts at $13,499. But if you want to get any color to it, I think it also comes in Redline red and this color, the gray. You're looking at, I think, $400 or $450 more for an upcharge in the paint. ABS being standard, the traction control, the modes, I really don't know what all extra you'd want to put on this bike, unless you really wanted to put a different fairing on it or a mini batwing. But again, this isn't the bike for that, in my opinion. If I bought this bike, I would buy it for the purpose that it's intended, and that is a fun, short distance, get up and go, peppy bar hopper type bike. I don't know that I would do anything to this bike. The one thing I've noticed is the suspension, and again, I'm 230 pounds. The suspension hasn't been tuned or set for me, but I have a bit more road feel than I would like. I would probably put a stiffer suspension, a better suspension on it, and upgrade at least on the back. Maybe look for something in a Legend suspension if they make them yet. All right, folks, we're on the home stretch here. So overall grade on this bike, I'm going to give it an A-. I'm super impressed with the power. I'm super impressed with the handling. I love these 3 different riding modes. I love the fact that it's got traction control and ABS standard on it. It's a great looking bike, and in this gunship gray, just beautiful. What I'm not thrilled about is the sound of this bike unless you really get it wound up. And it's a mid-mount bike, and I'm not a big fan of mid-mount, and I don't know that you can make this a forward mount bike. You might be able to, but overall, I really like this bike. If a bar hopper is what you're looking for, or a small little sporty bike, this may be just what you want. Oh, do me a favor down in the comment section. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Have you test ridden one of these bikes? Have you bought one of these bikes? What do you think? Has Harley hit a home run here, or have they struck out? What's your opinion? Let me know. Thanks, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this little mini review and test ride. We'll see you again soon. Take care.